Hello everyone, welcome to BMN 603 Buddhist Practitioner I course, which is a 4 credits course in the summer 2020 at the International University of the East Om Meditation Center, Los Angeles. My name is Venerable Nivitigala Smita Thero and I'm your instructor of this course. So, these are the topics that we are going to cover during this course. We had an introduction to the course last week, and this week I'm going to talk about the definition and qualities of a Buddhist practitioner. And the next week, we are going to talk about the basic concepts and theories of Buddhist ceremonial practices. And then we'll have regular Buddhist gatherings, special Buddhist occasions, and requested services. There'll be a lecture on that. And then we'll cover up main principles and functions of house, business, blessings, weddings and funerals, followed by a review and midterm examination. Then we have structure and function of the Buddhist ceremonial practices, public speaking and the delivery or different types of sermons will be in the next week, and then we'll have the final lecture just before the final examination. That will be public instructions or sermons at Buddhist ceremonial practices. Okay, so who is a Buddhist practitioner? It's interesting to note who is a Buddhist practitioner. And when you say Buddhist and when you say practitioner, they are very important key terms here. So Buddhist is someone who follows the path and teachings of the Buddha. And practitioner is the one who actually practices. So we have to be very serious, just not labeling, but really practicing someone. So let's go ahead and see how it happens. And for a Buddhist practitioner, if you are a lay person, you have to practice these precepts. So, for example, 5 precepts is a must for a lay Buddhist devotee or practitioner or a follower. 8 precepts will be another, and 10 precepts also will be followed by the lay Buddhist practitioners. So, average, almost every Buddhist lay Buddhist practitioner, they have to practice 5 precepts. And once in a while, maybe like a full moon day, on a full moon day, they practice 8 precepts or 10 precepts. And we will discuss about that. What are those 5 precepts? What are those 8 precepts? And what are those 10 precepts? And everything we will discuss today. And then I want to talk about Bhikkhu Patimokkha and Bhikkhuni Patimokkha. I'm not going to discuss this thing in detail, but in Buddhism there are 4 kinds of people, 4 kinds of groups, we can say. One is the lay people, and the other is the monastic group. So in the lay people, there are 2 groups, that is lay men and lay women. And then in the monastics, there are 2 groups. One is monks and the other one is nuns. So bhikkhu means monks and bhikkhuni means nuns. So the code of conduct for monks is compiled in this particular book called Patimokkha. Okay, Bhikkhu Patimokkha. And Bhikkhuni Patimokkha is the book that consists of those code of conduct for bhikkhunis or nuns. And then for a Buddhist, there is something called 10 wholesome deeds or Dasa Kusala Kamma. So apart from the 5 precepts, the 8 precepts, 10 precepts, these are also very important things. Sometimes you can see some overlapping uh, things, like some of the things that we have, some of the precepts that we have in the 5 precepts are also included into the 10 wholesome deeds. And the other one is 10 perfections, Dasa Paramita. So I'm going to talk about these, going to just introduce you these things, like these are the vows or the fulfillments that any practicing Buddhist would follow during the whole course of his samsara. I mean, the circle of transmigration. Not only in this birth, but many births they would vow to follow this fulfillment or the perfections. So one has to perfect in certain things. I'm going to discuss in short, in brief. I will introduce these things uh, at least so you can get some idea what it is all about. And then the most important thing is Noble Eightfold Path. Any Buddhist practitioner, if his or her main goal is to achieve enlightenment, he or she has to follow the Noble Eightfold Path. I'm going to also introduce this one in short, in brief, so that you can have some idea. And in future, of course, as I get some opportunity, I'm happy to discuss these things with you more in detail. And I'm also going to share the articles and the web links regarding these topics, so you can go ahead and read them as well. Okay, so let's go and check what is 5 precepts, 8 precepts, and 10 precepts. Okay, what is 5 precepts? These are the 5 precepts. So 5 precepts. So they have to, everyone as a lay Buddhist, he or she has to undertake these precepts. Number 1, I undertake to observe the precept to abstain from killing living beings. So absolutely no killing, no violence in Buddhism. It is um, it is loving kindness, compassion for every sentient being. And number 2 is I undertake to observe the precept to abstain from taking things not given. That means stealing. Stealing is absolutely no in Buddhism. So these are some very important vows that a Buddhist must follow. So the first one, for example, killing living beings means you respect others' life. When you respect others' life, the others will also respect your life. You can't expect others to respect you if you do not know how to respect others. So you have to save others' life first. You have to respect others' life first. And then you have the opportunity to be uh, to be respected by the others. And taking things not given means you are going to respect others' hard-earned property by not stealing, not cheating them. You respect their hard-earned property, so you do not take. If it is not given to you, you do not take it. And for example, the monks, for example, what we call Upasampada monks, so higher ordained monks, they do not take anything if they are not given. They have to be offered. They have to be, they have to be served. Let's say like there is some food on the table, but if it is not given to them, they do not take. If they take it, they will break a minor precept. So they are very strict on these things. So those monks have much more profound when it comes to these things. But all the other lay devotees as well, they also have to uh, follow these, they have to observe these precepts very seriously. So you respect others' property and you respect others' life. Number three is I undertake to observe the precept to abstain from sexual misconduct. So, sexual misconduct means for a lay person, you can have marital life, you can have sexual life, that is okay. But sexual misconduct is completely unacceptable in Buddhism. So it is sexual misconduct. So it is not sexual conduct, it is sexual misconduct that is prohibited in Buddhism. So this precept is also very, very important. Here what happens actually, the first one we said we respect others' life. And the second one is we respect others' property. And the third one is actually we respect others' family life. We actually take care of their families. We respect them. We know the union of husband and wife of another family is very important to them. So you do not interfere, or you do not try to break them, or you do not try to have illicit sexual affairs with those partners who are already engaged in a marital affair. So we have to respect others' family life. So this one also, this precept also is really, really important for a healthy, for a harmonious, for a peaceful society, so that we can coexist with our community with a more stronger uh, coordination and communication and peaceful and harmonious coexistence we can maintain in our society with this observance of this third precept. Plus, it is also very, very important health reason. We know like today, because of the sexual misconduct, some of the worst diseases there, and lots of human beings suffer immensely because of these sexually transmitted diseases. So, sexual misconduct, if you refrain, if you abstain from sexual misconduct, your health also will be very, very definitely benefited. Number four is I undertake to observe the precept to abstain from false speech. False speech, you are truthful, you are honest, you are sincere when you abstain from false speech. This is very important. For a respectable life, for a good name, to maintain a good image for yourself, you need to be truthful. You have to tell the truth. You have to be truthful. You do not cheat others. So this is really important precept in Buddhism. So to be truthful is a very important thing. And when you are truthful, you are respected by the entire society. Now you see what happens here. When you are truthful, you are respected. If you do not tell truth, one day or the other people will come to know about that. And once they come to know about that, they will lose confidence in you. They will lose trust in you. Once they lose trust in you, your image will be gone. Your self-esteem will be gone. You will be undermined by the others. You will not be respected by the other. So false speech is complete no in Buddhism. For a Buddhist practitioner, now we are doing this Buddhist practitioner course, so I recommend you also give serious consideration to these precepts in your life. Okay, whether you're a Buddhist or not, actually, it doesn't really matter. These are really important human issues. Like you respect others' life, you respect others' property, you respect others' family life, and also you become truthful. These are really very wonderful human qualities. And the last one, I undertake to observe the precept to abstain from distilled and fermented liquor, drinks and drugs that causes intoxication or heedlessness. So drinks and drugs, and especially today, especially with the young generation, we have a huge issue, very big issue with this problem. When they are addicted to drinks and drugs, it's really hard. Sometime back it was drinks that people were addicted to, but today it's a different case altogether. Right now, most of the people, it's easy money to sell these things, and you sell and you get a lot of money by selling drugs, but then the kind of damage that do to the people, especially the young people who are actually our future leaders, and when their life is ruined, that is a really bad karma according to Buddhism. Very strong, very powerful bad karma when they do such things to other people, to harm the other's life. So imagine like some people, let's say when they are drunk, what happens? There is always an opportunity, a possibility, a potential in you that you break all the four other former sealers. When you are drunk or drug addicted, you might kill others, you might harm others' life, you might steal things, you might also engage in sexual misconduct, and then you might tell lies. So this fifth sealer is also really very important when it comes to the practice. So these are the five precepts. And so eight precepts, when it comes to eight precepts, there are three extra precepts. Plus the third precept is a little different. Third precept in the five precepts we know that I undertake to observe the precept to abstain from sexual misconduct, right? And here what happens, I undertake the precept to refrain from sexual activity. So when you observe eight precepts, you cannot have any sexual activity. So when you observe five precepts, you still can have sexual activity with your partners, and that is okay. But sexual misconduct is still not approved. And here, in when you observe eight precepts, you cannot have sexual activity at all. So, for example, in traditional Buddhist countries, we do have full moon day, something called full moon day. On a full moon day, people come to the temple. For example, in Sri Lanka, every month, full moon day is a public, bank, and mercantile holiday. So all the people have the opportunity to go to the temple. And then they have one day retreat. They observe eight precepts and they practice. And once in a while, actually, when you practice something extra like this, that will really be very helpful and very useful to your lifestyle. It always helps. So even from sexual activity, once in a while, if you refrain from that, you will feel a different energy level there. And so the other five precepts out of the others, except the third one, the others are still the same: killing living beings, taking things not given, and forced speech, and drinks and drugs. So refrain from them, abstain from them. And then the sixth one is I undertake the precept to refrain from eating at the forbidden time. For example, afternoon. So when you observe 8 precepts on that particular day, you do not have food, any solid food after the noon. So that also is kind of fasting. So it helps you physically and for your health also it's very good to have some kind of a fasting once in a while. It really helps you. It brings your body much more lighter effect, and your tummy and all will feel more comfortable. Plus, this also gives your body much more light, and then it's easier for you to practice. For example, you want to meditate. When you have a lot of food, you're so full, you can meditate. You feel like sleepy, you feel drowsy. So you need to take only very little food when you meditate. And when you meditate, you also need very little energy. So you don't need so much energy, so much food you don't need because it's more of a mental activity, more spiritual activity. So for that you don't need so much food. So this fasting thing is really important for practitioners when it comes to 8 precepts. And number 7, I undertake the precept to refrain from dancing, singing, music, going to see entertainments, wearing garlands, using perfumes, and beautifying the body with cosmetics. You see, these are like something extra. Every day people like to do such things. But once in a while, you take a break from them and you feel so good. And on a day, like a full moon day, that's why people go to the temples and they practice. They can do it at home as well, but temple atmosphere is more conducive to such practices. And no dancing that day, no singing, no music, no entertainment, no garlands, no perfumes, no beautifying the body with cosmetic, just natural beauty, just natural. And that way you also feel different vibration, different energy when you refrain from such things. So this is also very important for self-care, especially for a Buddhist practitioner. When you have a good self-care, helps you to take care of the other. So these things directly and indirectly helpful to yourself and to others. Number 8, I undertake the precept to refrain from lying on a high or luxurious sleeping place. So this again is a practice, and it talks about the humble humility and cutting your ego, coming down to earth, just down to earth, be simple, be humble, and all these things are important for a practitioner. Practitioner has to cut his ego. He has to fight his ego. Otherwise, if you have a high super ego, it will be difficult for you to practice because you might be judgmental, you might be aggressive, you might lose your inner peace. So to come down closer to Mother Earth, would be much more comfortable and much more conducive for a good practitioner. So on full moon day mostly, these 8 precepts are practiced by the lay devotees. And sometimes, actually, some even more serious practitioners, even lay people, serious practitioners, they do it 4 times a month. Like every week they go to the temple, they practice these 8 precepts. And yeah, these are the 8 precepts. And when it comes to the 10 precepts, giving you the whole list here so you can see what is the difference here. And we do have 2 more extra precepts. Let's go ahead and read from the beginning. I undertake the precept to refrain from destroying living creatures. I undertake the precept to refrain from taking that which is not given. I undertake the precept to refrain from sexual activity. I undertake the precept to refrain from incorrect speech. I undertake the precept to refrain from intoxicating drinks and drugs which leads to carelessness. Yeah, that is more or less the same thing. Translations are a little different from each other. I undertake the practice to refrain from eating at the forbidden time, that is afternoon. I undertake the precept to refrain from dancing, singing music, going to see entertainment. I undertake the precept to refrain from wearing garlands, using perfumes, and purifying the body with cosmetics. I undertake the precept to refrain from lying on a high or luxurious sleeping place. And the last one, I undertake the precept to refrain from accepting gold and silver. So these are the 8 precepts. And actually the 7th precept is broken into 2 here. I undertake the precept to refrain from dancing, singing music. In 8 precepts, these 2 are combined. And in the 10th precept, we have actually one more extra, that is not to take gold and silver or any money. So these are very important precepts for a Buddhist practitioner. And there are some people actually who have dedicated their entire life to practice these 10 precepts. They are called Sila Mata, for example. Or there can be Anagarika, like they're like homeless, but they have given up they have renounced their all possessions. So there are people who have dedicated their lifestyle to the preservation or observance of these 5 precepts because they feel so much different, peaceful, good energy when they practice. So in traditional Buddhist countries, there are some people who practice once in a while, like once a month or something, and some people who practice more often than that, and some people even practice more for more duration, like 10 days retreat or something like that. So in that case, these 10 precepts are practiced by, and then even by the lay people and also the monastics. When it comes to the novice monks and novice nuns, they also have to practice these things. So all the novice monks and nuns, they have to practice as long as they remain as novice monks and novice nuns. They have to observe these precepts. But for the other lay devotees, they have to practice for the duration they observe. If they feel like I want to observe these 10 precepts for 10 days or 1 day or whatever, then they can take them, they observe them and they practice. But for the novice monks and nuns, they have to do it as long as they remain as novice monks and nuns. Okay, so then let's go to Dasa Akusala or 10 immoral acts. There are 3 categories actually. 3 acts are done through the body and 4 acts are done through the mouth. The rest of the 3 are done through the mind. So bodily, verbally and mentally. These 3 categories are there and we already know now Anatipata in Pali means killing and Adinnadana in Pali means taking what is not given. Kamesu Michachara means not just sexual misconduct but also excessive of sense pleasures, like when you want to watch a movie or something, like you have excessive urge to that, or when you want to listen to music, like you're so addicted to that, you're so crazy about that, then that is also kind of extreme, excessive sense pleasures also included here in this case when it comes to kamesu michachara. Kama means desires. So micha means wrong, chara means behavior. So the wrong conduct in desires. So controlling desires is really important part of Buddhist practitioner's life. And then the four vachi sankhara or immoral acts done with the speech. These are musavada and pisunavacha and parusavacha and sampapalapa. So musavada means lying, false speech, not telling lies. When you tell lies, that becomes a very strong, unwholesome activity. And pisunavacha means slandering. You want to make a schism or division among two wonderful friends. That is again a bad karma or immoral act. Then parusavacha is harsh speech. If you hurt others, that becomes hard, harsh. So it is also very important. What is your intention? If you intentionally do that, even with some sugar-coated language, you can still do that. That can be harsh because if the other person is hurt with the intention of hurting, that will become an immoral act. Sampapalapa is frivolous talk, gossip, and mostly unnecessary talks. So in Buddhism, there is something called noble silence. So when they practice, the Buddha always advised his disciples to maintain noble silence. If you don't have anything to talk, if you don't have anything to talk in the sense like anything about the Dharma, if you don't have any topic to talk, just keep quiet. When you keep quiet, you naturally observe these wonderful good karma, Dasa Akusala, and that becomes Dasa Kusala when you refrain from lying, slandering, harsh speech, and frivolous talk. Because when you don't talk, you do not make any mistake. You do not make any akusala there, no immoral acts there. So noble silence is something that is counterattacking these four immoral acts with speech. And then we have three mano sankhara or immoral acts done with the mind, which is very, very challenging again. Like abhijja means covetousness or greed for other people's belongings. When you see something like you have a small car, maybe somebody else has a bigger car or more expensive car, or you have a small house, the other one has a bigger, comfortable mansion. You are greedy or you want to have that, you want to take it by hook or by crook or something. So that is called abhijja. You mentally think. Maybe you do not express it. You mentally think, oh, I wish I could have that, something like that. And vyapada is the ill will, hatred, which is also a very bad immoral act through mind. And michaditi is the wrong views. When we have michaditi, you can do any wrong thing in your life because you messed up with your perspective. Your lifestyle can be changed very drastically. So michaditi is a really, really powerful immoral act, it is said. Okay, so these are the 10 akusala karmas or dasa akusala or 10 immoral acts. And let's go to 10 perfections, so dasa parami. According to Buddha Vansa, a book in Khuddaka Nikaya, there are 15 books in that section. And we have in Theravada Buddhism 10 perfections. And in Mahayana Buddhism, there are 6 perfections. So all these are really very wonderful acts, wonderful conduct by those aspiring Bodhisattvas, whosoever want to achieve enlightenment, they have to fulfill these things. And the first one is dana. Dana parami means generosity, giving of oneself. Generosity can be done in many different ways. You can give money, you can give food, you can give clothes, you can give medicine, even you can give body organs, which is even more extra advanced step. And some people can even, at the cost of their life, they can even sacrifice their life for a better cause. That they are ready to do that. They can give up even life to help others. So this is dana parami. So initial level, average level, dana parami is just the generosity. You can practice generosity by sharing what you have with those who do not have. So when you have maybe some money or some food or some other things, even the knowledge you can share, not for the money, but for free to help others. Sila parami is virtue, morality, and this is what we are talking about today. And maybe I just want to remind again, and we were talking about these 10 Akusala karmas, and with the body and with the speech, we make 7 Akusala karma. So put together, this bodily and verbal restraint is also called Sila. Okay, so that is called morality or virtue in Buddhism. And so Sila Parami, virtue, morality, proper conduct, that's a really important practice for every Buddhist. And Nekkhamma Parami is renunciation. You should be able to let it go. You should be able to give it up when it comes to practice. You should not hold on to things so obsessively. Uh, you should be able to renounce. Panya Parami is transcendental wisdom, insight, discernment. I'm just giving you a little description only, but you can, of course, read more about these things if you are interested in learning more about these things. Are really important. They are very, very important. Virya Parami is energy, diligence, vigor, and effort. So without virya, without energy, without hard work, you can't achieve any goal. So if you want to be enlightened, you really have to work very hard. It's not only physical but also mental. So make attempt, work hard, and energetically and enthusiastically and diligently you work towards your goal, spiritual goal. Khanti Parami is patience, tolerance, forbearance, acceptance, endurance. So this is another very, very powerful practice by the Buddhists. They have to be patient, they have to be humble, they have to be down to earth, so this way they can live a very peaceful life. And such a parami is truthfulness and honesty. So this is another very important trademark of a Buddhist practitioner. If you are a Buddhist practitioner, as you are learning this course, this satya or truthfulness, remember, honesty, this is a very, very important practice. So you have to be truthful. You have to be honest and sincere in your practice. Adhitthana is determination, resolution. So just like virya, energy and diligence, this determination, resolution also is another practice that a Buddhist practitioner must do. Metta parami is goodwill, friendliness, loving kindness. And when it comes to metta, we will discuss more later about metta. Metta means immeasurable, boundless, unconditional love towards every sentient being. So that goodwill, that friendliness, that loving kindness is really, really practiced in Buddhism. In Mahayana, in Theravada, everywhere it is practiced in very, very great scale. For example, there is a particular sutta called Karaniya Metta Sutta, and in that sutta, metta meditation and the requirements of metta meditation practitioner is explained. So go have a look if you have time. Metta, and I have actually done a meditation this morning about that. Maybe you can also watch that video when you practice for your daily practice. I also conduct these weekly guided meditations every Saturday. I want you to also join 7 a.m. California time or Pacific time every Saturday. Please follow those videos in Dhamma USA YouTube channel so you can also practice yourself and be benefited, and then you can record your spiritual journey that I have explained in the previous lecture. And then the last one is Upekha Parami, equanimity and serenity. This is much more challenging as compared to the others too. Like Upekha means equanimity. Like you are not disturbed with whatever happens around. You are able to maintain your inner peace without being perturbed, without being disturbed of your inner peace and harmony. And that energy is a very powerful thing, especially when you practice this upekka parami becomes a parami, it's a fulfillment. When you keep practicing, if you feel concentrating more and more meditating, this one is strengthened all the time. Okay, so then we go to another very, very important practice called Noble Eightfold Path, and every Buddhist practitioner. And in his or her final goal, these are the most important precepts. These are the most important paths that one has to undertake. And right understanding, right intent, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Noble Eightfold Path is a very popular Buddhist teaching, and there are so many suttas in the Pali Canon that describe about this powerful concept called Noble Eightfold Path. And you know about the Four Noble Truths, for example, the truth of suffering, the truth of the cause of suffering, and then the truth of the cessation of suffering, and then the truth of the path leading to the cessation of suffering, and that is Noble Eightfold Path. And this Noble Eightfold Path actually is divided into three: Sila, Samadhi, Panya. So now you can see right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness. And these are also part of some of those concepts that we already discussed. Right speech, for example, like speaking the truth and not being harsh or not telling lies. And all these things are right speech. And being kind, and then right action. Actually, the right speech is those fourfold verbal conducts, refraining from those immoral verbal acts. And then right action means in the five precepts, the first three precepts, that is right action. So that is actually the first, this one, right speech, right action, and right livelihood. That is called Sila. Bodily verbal restraint is called Sila, or morality, or virtue. And Right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration is called samadhi. That is called samadhi or concentration. So you need to focus more, practice more, meditate more when it comes to samadhi. And that is more concentrated effort, concentration. So when you are bodily and verbally restrained, only you can actually go to the next stage, that is samadhi, concentration. When you are more comfortable with it, well versed with it. So you have Sila, foundation, and then you have samadhi, and then you can go for the panya, that is understanding, that is the wisdom. So this hierarchy is pretty much very important in Buddhist theory of knowledge. First is the Sila. The very foundation of Buddhist knowledge is Sila. And when you have Sila, only you can go for the Samadhi. When you have Samadhi, only you can go for the wisdom. So the first two actually represent the wisdom, right understanding and right intent. So without right understanding, without right intent, everything can go wrong. So it's very important to have that. So they are mutually interconnected. Not necessarily everything start like 1, 2, 3. No, it helps mutually as well. So Noble Eightfold Path again is a really important teaching when it comes to Sila or virtue or morality. So I want to now come to more detail about the virtue or morality or Sila in Pali. So that is the cornerstone upon which the entire Noble Eightfold Path is built. So this practice of Sila is defined by the middle three factors of the Eightfold Path. As I said, this is the middle three: right speech, right action, and right livelihood over here. Right speech, right action, and right livelihood. And that is called bodily and verbal restraint and discipline. That is the discipline that everyone needs to maintain when it comes to the practice. So Buddhist practitioners, remember, when you are a Buddhist practitioner, you need to focus on these things: right speech, right action, and right livelihood. In Four Noble Truths, actually, Noble Eightfold Path, these things are further elaborated. I think if I have some time, I will definitely like to speak more. Right speech is about those fourfold acts of verbal restraint, and then the right action is the first three precepts in the five precepts, and the right livelihood is doing a job that is not harmful. For example, if you are engaged in selling drugs or selling weapons or maybe chemical fertilizer that is harmful, and human trafficking, and all those things are not recommended in Buddhism as right livelihood. So it's very important again. That should also be in harmony with the other precepts. And practicing Buddhists so voluntarily undertake a particular set of training rules appropriate to their life situation. So this is part of their practice. A Buddhist practitioner, they have to keep working on these precepts to make their life more successful as a Buddhist practitioner. And then again, practicing Buddhist, they voluntarily undertake. There is no compulsory rule. It's somebody's volunteer act. You're not forced to do that. If you wish, you want, you can do that. So it is a voluntarily undertaking. And these precepts, as I said, laymen and women, they observe five precepts. And laymen and women doing intensive meditation practice on Uposatha days. So Uposatha is full moon days. So they observe 8 precepts, as I said, and then novice monks and nuns, they observe 10 precepts. Even lay people actually can practice 10 precepts. But as I said, novice monks and nuns, they have to practice it as long as they remain in the robe. And they wear a robe when they become Samanera or Samaneri. They shave their head and they wear a robe and they stay in the temple and then they observe these 10 precepts. That is called Dasa Sila in Pali. And a fully ordained monk or a bhikkhu, he has to follow 227 rules. Okay. So in comparison to the 10 precepts or the 5 precepts or the 8 precepts, a fully ordained monk has so many rules to follow, so many precepts to observe. And a bhikkhuni or a nun has even more. They have to follow 311 rules of the Bhikkhuni Patimokkha. So all those 227 rules are compiled in Bhikkhu Patimokkha of Vinaya Pitaka, and 311 rules are compiled in Bhikkhuni Patimokkha of Vinaya Pitaka. Okay, so I'd like to quote one of the suttas, Anguttara Nikaya 10.1, which is talking about the path to deliverance by Venerable Jnanatiloka translation. And here the Buddha and Venerable Ananda had a conversation regarding the rewards of virtue. Venerable Ananda asked the Buddha, "What, O Venerable One, is the reward and blessing of wholesome morality?" And then the Buddha said, "Freedom from remorse." And Venerable Ananda asks again, "And of freedom and remorse, what is then?" And then the Buddha said, "Joy, Ananda." And of joy, what? The Buddha said, "Rapture, Ananda." And of rapture, tranquility, Ananda. And of tranquility, happiness, Ananda. And of happiness, concentration, Ananda. And of concentration, vision and knowledge according to reality. And of the vision and knowledge according to reality, turning away and detachment. And of turning away and detachment, the vision and knowledge with regard to deliverance, or nirvana, or nibbana, or emancipation, or enlightenment, Ananda. So this is a good quotation for a Buddhist practitioner to have a look and how this virtue is leading all the way to the nirvana or the enlightenment. So it starts with just virtue or morality, but then it keeps on improving in the hierarchical order in his or her conduct, leading all the way to the enlightenment. And then there is another beautiful sutta in Anguttara Nikaya, which is part of Sutta Pitaka. We have 3 Pitakas, what we call Sutta Pitaka, Vinaya Pitaka and Abhidhamma Pitaka. And in the Sutta Pitaka there are 5 Nikayas: Digha Nikaya, Majjhima Nikaya, Anguttara Nikaya, Khuddaka Nikaya, and Samyutta Nikaya. So Anguttara Nikaya is the section where the Buddha talks about all those numerical things, like 5, 8 or something like that. All those numbers are there. From 1 to 11 numbers, numerical treatments are there in this particular Nikaya. So in this Anguttara Nikaya, there is a beautiful sutta called Abhisanda Sutta. Abhisanda means rewards. So there are 5 faultless gifts according to this sutta, and there are these 5 gifts, 5 great gifts: original, long-standing, traditional, ancient, unadulterated, unadulterated from the beginning. And these 5 gifts are not open to suspicion. will never be open to suspicion and are unfiltered by the knowledgeable, contemplative, and Brahmins. So these five gifts are really important and they are part of the morality and they are part of the Sila, they are part of the virtue. What are those five? Okay, five faults, faultless gifts, no fault in these gifts. And one, abandoning the taking of life, abstains from taking life. Now you see, you are more familiar with this. That is the first precept of the five precepts. And then the second one, abandoning taking what is not given, stealing, and abandoning illicit sex. Okay, number three, and abandoning lying and abandoning the use of intoxicant. These are the five precepts. So when you abstain yourself from these five precepts, and there are more faultless gifts that you can gain. Let's see how it happens according to Abhisanda Sutta. So the first gift, there is the case where a disciple of the noble ones, abandoning the taking of life, abstains from taking life. So this person is abandoning the taking of life and he or she abstains from taking life. He or she doesn't kill or harm anyone. And such a noble one, in doing so, he gives freedom from danger, freedom from animosity, freedom from oppression to limitless number of beings. So when you do not harm anyone, you actually give freedom to so many other beings. And you give freedom from danger, freedom from animosity, freedom from oppression to so many other beings. When you do that, in giving freedom from danger, freedom from animosity, freedom from oppression to limitless numbers of beings, then what happens? He gains a share in limitless freedom from danger. So it comes to you as a reward. Freedom from animosity, freedom from oppression, because you respect others' life. When you respect others' life, the others also respect you, start respecting you. This is the first gift, the first great gift, according to Abhisanda Sutta of Anguttara Nikaya. And now you can also imagine the pattern. We have the similar pattern when it comes to the others. And in the second gift, also it's about the second precept, and not given, taking things not given, or stealing. So the disciple of the noble ones abstain from taking what is not given. In doing so, he gives freedom from danger, freedom from animosity, freedom from oppression to limitless number of beings. In giving freedom from danger, freedom from animosity, freedom from oppression to limitless number of beings, he or she also gains a share in limitless freedom from danger, animosity, and oppression. You see, so it is the fruit of the action. When you respect others' property, your property also is respected. When you preserve others' property, your property also is preserved, because you are consolidating, you are confirming, you are affirming that you are not going to steal others. So there is always a chance that other people also respect you because you are a wonderful person. So this is the second gift, the second great gift, according to Abhisanda Sutta of Anguttara Nikaya. Now this is the same pattern with the other third and fourth and fifth gifts too. So it's about the illicit sex now, the third precept. When you do that, you also gives freedom from danger, animosity, and oppression to limitless number of beings, because you are a very respectable person and you are respected by the others. When you respect the others' life, others' family life, your family also will be respected by others. And that is the third gift, third great gift according to Abhisanda Sutta. And the fourth gift, here the fourth gift also about the abstaining from lying. So when you do that, when you do not tell lies, and you give freedom from danger, animosity, and oppression to limitless number of beings. You become truthful and sincere and honest, and you will be duly rewarded when you do that. And that is the fourth gift, the fourth great gift, according to Abhisanda Sutta. And then the fifth one, the last but not the least, the fifth one, and it's about intoxicants. So the noble ones, the disciples of the noble ones, they abstain from taking intoxicants. When you do that, you give freedom from danger, animosity, and oppression to limitless number of beings. And when you do that, you will be duly rewarded. And that is the fifth gift, the fifth great gift. So this is an original quotation from the original Tipitaka. I wanted to share it with you in order to consolidate our knowledge with the original references. So, and this is the reward of merit, reward of skillfulness, nourishment of happiness, celestial, resulting in happiness, leading to heaven, leading to what is desirable, pleasurable, and appealing, to welfare and to happiness. So, a Buddhist practitioner, when they do that, they have these wonderful gifts, they have these wonderful rewards, and all these welfare and the happiness and the pleasure and the heavenly things and all this nourishment of happiness, part of the rewards that you gain when you practice these wonderful precepts. And in Mulaposatha Sutta, that's in Anguttara Nikaya again, the roots of the Uposatha, I said Uposatha is the full moon day practice, so it talks about the 8 precepts here. And we already learned about the 8 precepts, and here also it talks about that. One should not kill a being, and or take what is not given, should not tell a lie, be a drinker of a strong drink, should abstain from uncelibacy, the sexual act, should not eat at night, wrong time of the day, should not wear a garland or use a scent, should sleep on a pallet mat spread on the ground. And for these 8-factored Uposatha has been proclaimed by the awakened one, that is the Buddha, to lead to the end of suffering and stress. So it is said, when you observe these precepts, that will lead you to the enlightenment. So according to this Anguttara Nikaya, Mulaposatha Sutta, this teaching is given, and there are some more explanations. The moon and sun both fair to see, shedding radiance wherever they go, and scattering darkness as they move through space, brighten the sky, illumining the quarters. Within their range is found wealth, pearl crystal beryl, lucky gem, platinum nugget gold, and the refined gold called hataka. Yet there is one more here. Like the light of all stars, when compared with the moon, and worth 1/16 of the 8 factored Uposatha. So whoever man or woman is endowed with the virtues of the 8 factored Uposatha, having done meritorious deeds, productive of bliss, beyond reproach, goes to the heavenly state. So there is nothing in comparison to those material things, material prosperity or whatever you have, in comparison to your moral practice, your posata practice, your sila. So when you practice the 8 precepts, the Buddha says, beyond reproach, it goes to the heavenly state. That is so much powerful, productive bliss when it comes to the 8 precepts. And then Diga Nikaya, another Sutta Pitaka section called Mahaparinibbana Sutta. It's actually about the record. It's a long discourse. In Diga Nikaya, we have all the long discourses. There are 32 suttas in the Diga Nikaya. And this sutta records about the last days of the Buddha. And here there are 5 blessings. 5 blessings are there about the virtue again. I'm referring to taking these examples in order to consolidate our concept of morality or virtue and for a Buddhist practitioner. So 5 blessings householders accrue to the righteous person through his practice of virtue. So when you practice virtue, there are 5 blessings to you. And what are those 5 blessings? And number 1, great increase of wealth through his diligence. Okay, so when you keep working hard, you get good wealth. And then you get also a favorable reputation. When you practice Sila, you get a good favorable reputation. And a confident deportment without timidity in every society, be it that of nobles, Brahmins, householders, or ascetics. So wherever you are, you feel more comfortable, you feel more confident wherever you are. That is part of your practice. Your confidence, your self-confidence definitely goes up when you practice Sila. You're not scared of anyone because you practice Sila. And then you can have a serene death, very peaceful death, because you are confident about your own practice. You know, I have not done anything wrong. I have practiced my Sila, had a good, virtuous life. When you can think very seriously, honestly, you know yourself more than anyone else, so you can have a very peaceful death. Some people, when they don't do that, when they don't practice, when they have some wrong act, they always have a problem, especially when it comes to the death. They suffer immensely. And the person who practices, that person can die as a happy person, as a peaceful person. And the last one is, at the breaking up of the body after death, rebirth in a happy state, in a heavenly world. So, if you are not enlightened in this birth, then you have a chance that you will be born in a better realm, happy realm. So, it is always recommended and approved by the Buddha to practice this precept, morality, this moral conduct, according to Diga Nikaya 16, Mahaparinibbana Sutta. There is another sutta called Diga Jana Sutta. It's again Anguttara Nikaya. This is about conditions of welfare. So it's about admirable friendship, what we call Kalyana Mitra. Admirable friends encourage the development of virtue, and you have to find good friends. When you have good friends, you will always be safe. You will be in the right hand. So there is the case where a lay person in whatever town or village he may dwell spends time with householders or householders' sons, young or old, who are advanced in virtue. He talks with them, engages them in discussion. So there are people, so those people are interested in such good friends. They always try to find those wonderful friends. It can even be your own children, your own family members. But you are more lenient to them. You are more happier to associate with them because you know they are good, admirable friends. According to Digajana Sutta or Vargapaja Sutta, he emulates consummate conviction in those who are consummate in conviction, consummate virtue in those who are consummate in virtue, consummate generosity in those who are consummate in generosity, consummate discernment in those who are consummate in discernment. This is called admirable friendship. So you have to find the right people. You have to find virtuous people, generous people, and intelligent people, smart people. Smart in the sense that is not these mundane smart things, but the person who is having a good moral conduct. And these are very important. When you find such friends, as such admirable friends, you always have to take care of them, and you should be able to come closer to them so that you also can be benefited more yourself. In Anguttara Nikaya again, Mahanama Sutta, Mahanama is a person, and in this there is a quotation here, recalling your own virtues. So you think of your own virtues, and the more you contemplate on this, your virtues, your principles, your ethics, your morality, you feel very good and you feel so happy. And the Buddha said here, furthermore, there is the case where you recollect your own virtues. They are untorn, unbroken, unspotted, unsplattered, liberating, praised by the wise, untarnished, conducive to concentration. So when you have such a confidence about your own morality, about your own principles, about your own ethics, that can be so nice and it can be very helpful to concentrate, to meditate. You can easily concentrate because your mind is very pure. Your conduct is very pure. So at any time, when a disciple of the Noble One is recollecting virtue, his mind is not overcome with passion, and his mind is not overcome with aversion. His mind is not overcome with delusion. So passion, aversion, and delusion, that is also called lobha, dosa, and moha. His mind heads straight, based on virtue. When you have good Sila, that always helps you get rid of these unwholesome defilements. And when the mind is headed straight, the disciple of the Noble Ones gains a sense of the goal. What is the sense of the goal? When you have the sense of the goal, you gain a sense of the Dhamma and gains joy connected with the Dhamma, according to Mahanama Sutta. And it goes on to say, in one who is joyful, rapture arises. In one who is rapturous, the body grows calm. When you are happy, your body becomes very calm. For example, when you meditate, you feel so happy and you feel so joyful, you feel so rapturous, and then you can even achieve the jhanic stages. So the body becomes more calmer. One whose body is calm experiences ease, then you feel so comfortable and ease. In one at ease, the mind becomes concentrated. Such a person can easily go to jhana and concentrate very, very strongly. And then there is another sutta in Anguttara Nikaya called Sikha Sutta. Sikha means trainings. There are 4 types of individuals. Very good analogy here. So practice the precepts and support others' precepts too. This is the essence that we learned from here. And there are 4 types of people. Who are those 4 types of people? One, the one who practices for his own benefit, but not for that of the others. So there are people who practice, themselves, but they don't practice or they don't help, they don't benefit others. A kind of little bit more selfish. But there are people like that in the world, different kinds of people, different temperaments, different characters. And then there are some people, the one who practices for the benefit of others, but not for his own. There are people like that too. They prefer to work for the others, but not for him or herself. And then there is another person, one who practices neither of his own benefit nor for that of the others. So this is the worst case scenario. And then the most beautiful one, the one who practices for his own benefit and for that of the other. See, these are the 4 kinds of individuals, 4 types of individuals, and we have to find them, we have to recognize them, and then we have to go for the 4th one, the one who practices for his own benefit and also for that of others, according to Sikha Sutta of Anguttara Nikaya. How is one individual who practices for his own benefit but not for that of others? Now let's go talk about that. How do they benefit to oneself and to others? According to the first one, you see, he himself abstains from taking the life but doesn't encourage others in undertaking, abstains from taking of life. So he, let's say, like he's a vegetarian, but he doesn't encourage other people. He doesn't kill others. He doesn't harm anyone. But he doesn't want to encourage. Due to some reason, maybe tired of doing it, not having enough strength to do that, just or the nature, there are people like that. Same thing. He himself abstains from stealing, but doesn't encourage others in undertaking abstinence from stealing. Same thing. The third precept, he himself abstains from sexual misconduct, but does not encourage others to abstain from sexual misconduct. And then the fourth, he himself abstains from lying, but does not encourage others abstaining from lying. And then the fifth one, he himself abstains from intoxicants that cause heedlessness, but does not encourage others. So there are people like that. That is the first category of people. And the second category, how is an individual who practices for the benefit of others but not for his own? There is the case where a certain individual himself doesn't abstain from taking life, but encourages others in undertaking abstinence from the taking of life. So this is also kind of interesting. You do not practice, but you encourage others not to do that. So that's, in a way, it's also good. You do not practice, but you encourage others. Although it is not really very powerful way, because when you practice yourself and it is easier for you to say, but there are some people who do not practice, but they preach. They ask others to do that. Similarly, with the other precepts, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, and intoxicants, they preach others. They encourage others not to do those things, but they themselves, they are engaged in those things. And this is the second category of individual. And the third category, is the worst one, as I said. How is one an individual who practices neither of his own benefit nor for that of other? And in this case, this individual himself doesn't abstain from taking of life, nor encourages other people from doing so. Similarly, with the other precepts on stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, and intoxicants. And then again, how is one an individual who practices for his own benefit and for that of the others? Most beautiful person, most important person, and very rare to find too. So such people, they work for their own practice. They work for their own benefit, and also they help others. There is the case where a certain individual himself abstains from the taking of life and encourages the others in undertaking abstinence from the taking of life. There are people who want to advise others, first practicing himself, and then secondly advising others, encouraging others also to practice such good things. And these are the good people that we associate with, and they are called Kalyana Mitra friends, wonderful Kalyana Mitra friends. Similarly, with the precepts on stealing, they don't steal, and they also encourage others not to steal, and they don't engage in sexual misconduct. They also encourage others to not to engage in sexual misconduct, and they don't tell lies. They encourage others not to tell lies. They don't take intoxicants, and they encourage others not to take intoxicants. Such people very important, very rare according to Sikha Sutta trainings, and these are the people, wonderful Kalyana Mitra friends that we should have in our life. That is the fourth category. Okay, I think so. That's it for today, and for today we will call it a day then, and hope you enjoyed the lesson. If you have any question, you can always come back and let me know. Just email me sumita2012@gmail.com. This is my phone number. You can also have a look, and that's it. And then we'll see you again with another lesson. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful week ahead.